What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to another Football Manager 2020 video. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the best Wonderkid defenders. Of course, already on the channel, we've had the best goalkeepers kind of video. If you want to check that out, or the future ones, which will be coming your way soon, check out the playlist that will be linked down in the description of this video. So yes, of course, you can download this shortlist that we're going to be covering today, and then you load it into game simply by clicking on the cog. That's a mouthful. And then hitting load shortlist, and then you can select it in your downloads folder. So yes, shall we talk about defenders today? Of course, unlike the goalkeepers shortlist where there was only 30 players, we've got 83 players to cover today. There's a few here who, they're at the top of the list. We'll go through them first, but you're not going to be able to sign them realistically. They're going to be difficult to pry away. The first we have here is Alexander Arnold. My word, what a complete player this boy is. Absolutely superb. Pregnant women, beware. You can see here, he's just great. He's great. You could probably train him to play centre mid. I know there's been a lot of talk about that in real life. You're not going to be able to sign him from Liverpool, I don't think, at least without throwing hundreds of millions of pounds at them. Yeah, he kind of sets the standard when it comes to wing-backs this year. Of course, another player who really sets the standards is De Ligt, and I know he has not had the best season in real life. Of course, you're not going to be able to sign him from Juventus, at least not particularly easily, but he is in this list because he is one of the best Wonderkids at 19 years old, a player with bags of experience, absolutely immense as far as centre-backs go. But, well, if you're looking for realistic signings, perhaps slightly out of your budget. Anyways, we scroll through these players here. We've got players like Sessegnon, who is okay. He has lots of potential, not the best current ability though. Of course, signed for Tottenham recently, so you're not going to be able to sign him. Hakimi, I really like the look of this year. Fantastic pace, really good stamina. Of course, on loan at Dortmund from Real Madrid. Real Madrid have a lot of young fullbacks, don't they? Between him and Ferland Mendy, they've got talent. Again, maybe difficult to sign him, although one of those players who I would say be aware that he's there because he's probably not going to stay at Real Madrid, you know, for his entire career. Anyway, we have here, I'm going to go with Wage, but that is probably horrifically wrong. This guy becomes available for loan quite often at the start of save games this year. So if you need a right back who can also play left back, really good loan option. Plenty of potential. You know, if you could get him on a couple of year-long loan, worth it every penny. Fantastic pace as well. Definitely a player worth being aware of. We then come to a few, players who you may be familiar with. We look at Reece James here, who played for Chelsea. He's very good. A few English players in this list, and it's worth noting, right now we've got this sorted by value. English players inherently have a higher value because of the homegrown premium that the Premier League dictates, and that's kind of resembled, I guess, by Max Aarons here, who is fantastic. One of my favourite players, actually, to watch, which might sound a little bit weird. If you don't know, I have ties to Norwich. I watch a lot of their football. He won the EFL Young Footballer of the Year last year. In Football Manager terms, he's absolutely great. He has a fixed potential. He will consistently be a top player. 19 years old at the start of the save game. You're going to struggle to sign him to begin with. If Norwich get relegated first year, be swarming around them like vultures. Be ready to strike because he's that good. He really is fantastic. I'm just wondering if there's any other kind of players playing for the likes of Norwich who it's worth being aware of, because they do also have Jamal Lewis. I think he just fell out of contention on this list, but he's another very good fullback. The standard, by the way, for these defenders is a lot higher than we had for the goalkeepers previously. That's worth being aware of. One of the players who I'm most curious about this year is this guy, Nguyen Perez. On loan from Atletico Madrid, he's very good this year. He plays for Famalicão, I want to say is how you'd say this team's name. Please, correct me if I'm wrong. I know in real life they're kind of being bankrolled a little bit. He's a player worth being aware of. He has a minimum release clause of 13 million playing in Spain. So maybe have a little sniff around, see if you could pick him up. Anyways, we go through this list. There's loads of players, of course. I can't cover them all realistically in this video, so feel free to download the shortlist and check them out yourself. There's a few familiar names that you've probably seen in previous years, like Ampadu, who is, you can see here, of course, contracted to Chelsea on loan in the Bundesliga at 18 years old. He's very good. One of the best ball-playing defenders, I feel like, in the making. Beyond him, we've got this guy, Van Hoesten, who I wasn't familiar with before finding him for this shortlist. But you can see here, 19 years old. A player who I have this weird recollection of signing maybe last year, actually. Now I've seen his face again. You can see here, great passing, great vision. Just one of the great ball-playing defenders available this year in game. Of course, with the direction that modern football is taking, these players are becoming more and more important, but they're also becoming kind of more common. And he is, very, very good. And for the kind of value that he's got, if you could get him for 20 million, I'd say that is a deal well done. Anyway, a pairing of French players playing in the Bundesliga. We've got Pammi Cano, age 20, very, very good player. And alongside him, we've got Zagadou, two players who, if you played the last few football managers, you're going to be fairly familiar with. We've got here Cucurella, who plays for Getafe. He's actually on loan from Barcelona, as you can see here. His release fee, a little bit too high for Getafe, however. A £5 million optional fee. It's kind of attractive, isn't it? Anyway, a few more French players. I know it'd be brought up if I didn't cover him. William Saliba, of course, on loan from Arsenal, one of their big transfers last year. Over the summer. He's very, very good at 18. He's going to develop into a great little defender. If you're an Arsenal player or Arsenal fan and you're playing the game, expect big things from him. Anyway, we start getting to the lower end of values, and this is kind of where, some of the curveballs start to come in. So we've got here Vitaly Mykolenko, 20 years old, Ukrainian international with 5 caps already. Exceptional pace, left-footed as well. Could play centre-back if you wanted him to. 13 heading, 13 jumping reach. I feel like for me, his physicals, just his lack of strength kind of puts me off ever doing that. That and the fact that actually technically going forward, his dribbling, crossing, first touch, they're all pretty good for a young wing-back. Definitely a player worth, being aware of. If you could pick him up, I think you'd be on to a winner. A few players playing in the Belgian league in this list, they usually come for pretty good prices. We have here Lucimi, who has his birthday actually really early on in a save game. So he's 20 technically if you start with an early start date. For this example, actually, I've selected the late pre-season start date. So he is 21. You can, lodge your complaint with the fact he's not a wonder kid. Let's be honest, he's 21 years old. He looks very, very good, extremely athletic, and also just really, really versatile as a player, which is, for me, just one of my favourite qualities, I guess, to find in a player. Anyway, Bastoni, a player who's been very good in a lot of FMs for recent years at Inter. He still looks very, very good, fairly professional personality. Pace just lets him down a little bit. We've got players like Emerson here, who is a right-back on loan, of course, from Barcelona. Again, Barcelona and Real Madrid, they're kind of hoarding all the good fullbacks. Again, another player with an optional future fee, though. So yeah, keep an eye on for him, because if that optional future fee doesn't get triggered, after the first year, these players might be, pretty affordable in your save games. More French players playing in the Bundesliga. We've got Indica here, who is 19. He is absolutely superb playing for Frankfurt. An absolute titan of a man in the air. 18 jumping reach, but very good pace to go with it. Beyond him, you can see lots of other players here. Nathan Ferguson playing in the Championship. If you're perhaps a Premier League club, a player worth keeping an eye on, perhaps worth trying to sign for cheap early on before he develops too much. I've seen this guy be a little hit and miss in some of my tests, so just bear that in mind. He might not be, foolproof. He's not guaranteed to develop into a crazy player. Of course, that's the thing to note with this list. Every single save game, these players are going to develop differently. No two save games are ever the same when it comes to player development. These players have the potential to develop amazingly. That doesn't necessarily mean they will. Anyway, looking through this list further, we've got Guga here, who plays in Brazil, plays at Atletico Mineiro. You can see they signed him for 1.7 million back in January. He looks very, very solid. He's well-rounded. He doesn't have any super standout stuff, but if you're looking for a solid backup who can cover a few positions, he might be your man. Do be aware as well, he does have Portuguese as other nationality, which means he will get a work permit, which is a big, big tick next to his name. It's kind of one of the things that separates him from perhaps some of the other South American players. I want to click on Tavares here. I've got my face pack from last year, and this face is going to be incredible. So brace yourselves. Here we have Nuno Tavares. I think this photo's taken from when he was 8 years old. He's a good player, though. Very flexible fullback. Fairly professional personality. Great pace. Not the best defensively. Perhaps a better option if you're looking for a more offensively capable fullback. But he is very, very solid. More Ukrainians as well. We've got Bondar here, who plays for Shakhtar. Might be difficult to prime away from one of the big Ukrainian clubs who are regularly competing in Europe, but worth being aware. Of course, Dest here has recently declared his allegiance to the US men's national team at 18 years old. My word, again, not the most defensively capable defender, but of course he is a modern day fullback. His mentals, though, pretty solid for his age, and he is only 18, so worth keeping an eye on. Wagnerman has been a very popular player in recent FMs. Hamburg didn't get promoted last year, so he's playing in the second tier of Germany. You can sign him. You will be able to sign him. He might not come super cheap, but he's a very, very good flexible fullback option. If we just look at some of the youngest players on this list, you can see here there are a few 16-year-olds. Matias Jakobsen plays for Copenhagen. This guy, very, very good player. Probably more of a midfielder, to be honest. He's in the defender shortlist because he plays naturally at a defensive position. To be clear, of course, this is the defenders video. We're going to have a video on midfielders and attackers. If there's overlap where a player is naturally good at playing centre mid and defender, they'll appear in both. It's just the way I decided to go with things here. He's not the best when it comes to his jumping reach or his heading, so that's kind of what would lead me to play him perhaps more as a midfielder. We've got Vin Haas here, who plays at Porto. I don't know how willing they're going to be to sell him. You can see he's kind of a little bit meh at the beginning, but he's got very, very good potential. Jack Scott, player worth being aware of. Young Northern Irish player, plays for Wolverhampton Wanderers. You can see in this save game here, he's got an interesting role of attribute. He, I believe, has a fairly random spread given to him every save game, so he might look a little bit different in your save games to him. A few more Portuguese players down at the bottom here. Nuno Mendes playing for Sporting. Very, very good, kind of more attacking fullback option. Estevez here, again, very, very good right back. Rate this guy very highly, actually. One of the best 17-year-olds in the game this year. Definitely keep an eye on him. Another very good 17-year-old actually is Bello here, who I've seen, develop last year quite well. This year as well, similar level of potential. He can definitely make it in the Premier League, although if he's anything like last year, his development wasn't too consistent. So, yeah, do be a little bit aware of that. Maybe with a little bit of warning. Caution to the wind. Where am I going with this? I could look through more of these players, but of course, there's loads to go through. Kasunu, I like the look of as well. He plays for Club Brugge, 18 years old. Really, really well-rounded player. Worth keeping an eye on. Of course, we did do a top 10 Wonderkids video. There weren't too many defenders in that list, but as we go forward, you might want to check out this kind of playlist that we're going to have for this series, and also that video just to get an idea of who, for me, the best of the best are. There's 83 players here. I can't go through them all, as you guys know, but a pretty generous assortment. I feel like to end things off, we'll look at a Football Manager fan favourite. Svetozar Markovic, I've butchered your first name, I'm deeply sorry, was the best player in my opinion in terms of Wonderkids. On balance, when you look at ability, value, uniqueness, what he offers. This year he has moved to Olympiacos, so you're not going to be able to sign him, unfortunately, at least right away, but keep an eye on him. He is a very, very good player, and definitely worth a punt. He's as good this year as he was last year, that's for sure. Anyway, guys, that wraps up everything from me today. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. Do drop a like on it if you did. I don't know why I said like that. I can't speak. Please send help. Anyway, I'm done. Do subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'll see you again on the next one. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.